The stars were silent. The broken ship floated in deep space like a dead insect. Inside, only a few survivors remained, scared, tired, and almost out of hope. They were Varnuk, a proud alien race once trusted by their empire. Their mission had been simple: explore a new sector of space and report back. But something went wrong. Terribly wrong. An ambush, a hidden enemy. Their ship, the Seeker's Glory, was badly damaged. Engines dead, weapons useless. Their leaders had sent a final message: hold your position. Rescue is coming. That was 3 weeks ago. Now Captain Tarsik sat near the cracked window, watching the endless blackness. His crew, only 5 left, moved like ghosts through the wrecked halls. Their food was almost finished. Oxygen was dropping. Worst of all, their belief in rescue was dying. "They forgot us," whispered Nira, the youngest of the crew. Her voice shook in the cold air. Captain Tarsik did not answer. He couldn't. Deep inside, he knew she was right. The Seeker's Glory creaked and groaned. Somewhere, metal broke away into the vacuum, making long, sad sounds like a dying animal. Every noise made the crew jump. Fear lived inside the ship now, bigger than any enemy. "We have to do something," said Keln, the engineer. His once proud voice was weak now. "If we stay, we die." "And where will we go?" asked Varric, the fighter. "Our systems are dead. Life support will fail soon." Silence. They all knew the truth. They were trapped. For days, they tried to repair the ship. Keln worked without rest, patching wires with whatever he could find. Nira searched the cargo holds for emergency supplies. Captain Tarsik sent out weak distress signals into the void. No one answered. Each day, the stars outside seemed colder. Each night, someone whispered they saw shadows moving in space far away. But when they looked, there was nothing. Until one night. Nira was staring out into the black, half-dreaming, half-hoping. Then she saw it. A small light. A tiny star moving where no star should move. "Captain," she cried, "something's coming." Tarsik rushed to her side. His tired eyes widened. A ship, real and alive, was drifting toward them. It was strange-looking, smooth, different from their own design. "It's not Varnuk," Varric said, suspicious. "Maybe it's a scavenger. Or a pirate," said Keln darkly. "No," whispered Tarsik, feeling something deep in his bones. "It's human." The word fell heavy among them. Humans, the strange race from far across the stars. Stories said humans were small, weak, and wild, but dangerous when cornered. Some said they fought with impossible strength. Some said they never abandoned their own. And some said they were the most terrifying enemy because they never, ever gave up. Now one of their ships was coming straight toward them. The crew stared, unsure. Should they signal? Should they hide? But before they could decide, the human ship stopped. It floated quietly nearby, not docking, not attacking. Just waiting. "Why aren't they answering?" Nira asked, her voice trembling. Tarsik activated their last working communication beam. He sent a simple message: "We are survivors. We need help." The human ship gave no reply. "Maybe it's empty," said Keln. "Maybe it's a trap," growled Varric. Another long silence. "We have no choice," said Tarsik finally. "We're dying here. If we do nothing, we are already dead." One by one, they agreed. They prepared to leave their ship. As they moved through the shattered halls of the Seeker's Glory, every step felt like goodbye. The ship that had once been their home was now just a tomb. They launched a small shuttle, barely functioning, and headed toward the human ship. The closer they got, the stranger the ship looked. It was bigger than they thought. Sleek metal skin marked with burns and scars. No lights, no signs of life. But it was not broken. It was sleeping, waiting. Their shuttle docked with a soft thump. Inside the human ship, everything was dark. Cold air rushed to meet them. Strange machines lined the halls. The walls were smooth, different from the rough panels of their own ship. "Stay close," whispered Tarsik. They moved slowly through the darkness. Every sound echoed around them, their own footsteps, their own breathing. Suddenly, Kelm stopped. His flashlight shone over a wall where strange words were written. USD Fafnir. They had heard that name before, a ship known among human fleets, a protector, a warrior. But why was it here, silent, abandoned? Tarsik felt a shiver crawl down his back. This was not a rescue ship. This was something else, something that had survived a war and left scars behind. Somewhere deeper inside the ship, a low, humming noise began, very faint, and in the distance, in the darkness, something moved. The survivors of the Seeker's glory had escaped one death, but a new mystery and a new danger had just begun. The halls were dark. The air was cold. The only sound was the soft breathing of the Varna crew as they moved inside the human ship. Captain Tarsik led the way, his light cutting a narrow path through the shadows. Nira followed close behind, her hands shaking. Keln and Varric covered the rear, weapons ready. "Where are the humans?" whispered Nira. No one answered. The ship felt empty, but not dead. It was like walking inside a sleeping giant. The walls hummed softly under their feet. Some doors opened with a slow sigh. Others stayed locked, silent and cold. They passed through long corridors lined with machines they didn't understand. Some rooms were full of strange equipment, heavy armor, sharp tools, and glowing panels that blinked with quiet life. "What is this place?" Kelm muttered. Tarsik frowned. "A warship, but it's not fighting anymore." As they moved deeper, strange things started to happen. At first, it was small. Lights flickering when they walked past. Doors opening by themselves. Soft clicks and thuds from far away, like someone, or something, was moving. "It's just the ship's systems," Varric said, but even he didn't sound sure. Then they heard it. Footsteps. Slow, heavy footsteps. They all froze. The sound came from somewhere ahead. One step, another step, and then silence. "Maybe a survivor," whispered Nira hopefully. Tarsik signaled them to move slowly, weapons ready, hearts pounding. They turned a corner. The hallway was empty. Nothing but shadows stretching across the floor. The footsteps had stopped, but something was wrong. On the walls, deep scratches marked the metal, as if something with claws had fought here. "What did this?" Keln whispered, his voice thin with fear. Before Tarsik could answer, a door nearby creaked open. A cold wind rushed out. Inside, the room was filled with broken furniture, torn seats, and smashed screens. Blood, dark and dried, stained the walls. "No survivors," Varric said grimly. Tarsik felt a chill inside his bones. The humans here had fought. They had fought hard, and something terrible had happened to them. They kept moving, deeper into the ship. Suddenly, the floor shook. A deep thud echoed through the walls. The lights flickered violently. "What now?" cried Nira, gripping Tarsik's arm. Tarsik looked around. His instincts screamed that they were not alone. But still, no sign of life. Only the feeling of being watched. They reached a large chamber, maybe a command center. Chairs were broken. Screens were cracked. A large table in the middle showed a frozen map of nearby space. Keln worked quickly, tapping on the human controls. Surprisingly, they were simple, brutal, direct, like humans themselves. "I can read some of it," Keln said. "They logged a battle here. Pirates, or maybe worse." "Worse?" asked Nira. Keln nodded. "Something attacked them, boarded them." "And?" Varric asked sharply. Keln's face paled. "The humans fought them off. Killed them all, but they lost too many. No way to repair. They tried to send a distress signal, but it was blocked. By who? Tarsik demanded. Kelm looked at the cracked map. Someone who didn't want them to escape. Tarsik's mind raced. Were they trapped in a human ghost ship? Or had something else survived here too? Suddenly, the screen flashed. A single line of human text appeared. Wo are nang. Unauthorized presence EDTTTED. The ship's systems had woken up. Red lights blinked along the walls. Doors began to seal shut behind them. Run, shouted Tarsik. They sprinted down the hall, breathless. Sirens howled. The ship groaned around them, alive with sudden anger. They reached a heavy door. It opened just long enough for them to slip through. Inside, it was silent again. No alarms, no flashing lights, only darkness. And in that darkness, something huge and metal stood against the far wall. It looked like a human, but larger, thicker, covered in armor. A machine. Nira asked, stepping closer. Tarsik pulled her back. No, a soldier's armor. It was a human exosuit. Battle-scared, still charged with power. Waiting. For what? Or for who? The crew gathered around it, unsure. Then, with a sudden hiss, the suit's eyes lit up. Two burning white lights staring directly at them. A deep mechanical voice spoke. Identify yourselves, or face elimination. The Varnuk survivors, who had escaped death once, now stood frozen before a machine of war, one they did not understand, and one that might not see them as friends. Captain Tarsik raised his hand slowly. We are not enemies, he said carefully. We are survivors. The suit did not move. The lights in its eyes grew brighter. Time seemed to stretch forever. And then, the suit stepped forward, one heavy, booming step after another. The silent ship was silent no more. The human battle suit stepped forward. Each footstep shook the floor. The Varnuk survivors froze, too scared to move. The suit spoke again, in a deep mechanical voice. Identify. Now. Captain Tarsik forced himself to stay calm. He raised both hands higher. We are not enemies, he said. We were left in space. Our ship is dead. We came seeking help. The suit paused. Lights flashed along its chest, scanning them. Nira squeezed Tarsik's arm. What if it decides we're lying? She whispered. Tarsik didn't answer. He didn't know. Finally, the suit spoke. Non-human life forms detected. Status: weak, injured, not armed. Conclusion: low threat. The Varnuk crew let out shaky breaths. The suit lowered its weapons. Tarsik stepped forward carefully. Are you human? He asked. There was a small pause. Then, surprisingly, a laugh. Cold, metallic. Not anymore. Before they could ask more, the suit turned away and walked toward a wall panel. It moved with slow, heavy grace, like an old soldier still following orders long after the war had ended. Follow me, it said. The crew hesitated, then obeyed. What else could they do? They followed the giant machine through the dark halls. As they moved, the ship around them seemed to wake up even more, systems turning on, lights flickering to life. What happened here? Varric asked, his voice low. The suit answered without turning. Battle. Ambush. Survivors evacuated. Defense system remained. Me. You stayed behind. Nira asked, surprised. Duty. A simple answer. Cold. Final. Tarsik understood. This machine was no longer truly human. It was something else. A protector built from human flesh and metal, bound by orders it could never abandon. The suit led them to a large bay, maybe a meeting hall or briefing room once. Now it was a graveyard. Broken chairs, scorched walls, and in the center, a large hologram flickering weakly. The suit activated it. A 3D image of the area appeared. Stars, planets, debris fields. In the center, a blinking red zone. Danger still present, the suit said. Enemy ships nearby. Waiting. Hunting. The crew leaned closer. The red zone wasn't far. Just a few hours of flight if they had a working ship. Our shuttle can't make it, Keln said. It's too damaged. We won't survive an escape. Tarsik clenched his fists. They had come looking for rescue. But now, they were caught in a bigger trap. They want anyone who comes here to die, Tarsik realized. Correct, said the suit. Why are they doing this? Nira asked. What do they want? The suit's eyes burned brighter. Fear. Control. Power. You are bait. The words hit like a punch. They weren't just forgotten. They were left, used as bait to lure others. Maybe more humans, maybe other races. Tarsik's mind raced. We have to move, he said. We have to escape before more enemies come. But how? Varric asked. We can't fly the human ship. We don't know their systems. The suit turned toward them, heavy and still. I can pilot, but I need assistance. From us. Keln asked, shocked. Yes. Tarsik made a quick decision. This was their only chance. Trust the machine, or die in space. We'll help, Tarsik said. Tell us what to do. The suit nodded. It moved to another panel and pressed a large button. Deep within the ship, engines coughed awake. The floor rumbled beneath their feet. Lights blinked in long rows across the ceiling. The U.S. Defender, the dead ship, was coming back to life. The suit pointed toward the bridge. Come. Time is short. As they rushed through the halls, the ship's systems showed more warnings. Motion detected. Enemies approaching. Weapons offline. We'll never fight them off in time, Keln said, panic in his voice. Then we don't fight, Tarsik said firmly. We run. They reached the bridge. The windows showed the blackness of space, and tiny dark shapes moving closer. Enemy ships. Hunters, waiting to finish what they started. The suit took the main seat. Cables plugged into its back, fusing it with the ship's controls. Prepare for high-speed launch, it said. The crew strapped themselves into chairs. Tarsik held onto the arms of his seat so tightly his claws hurt. Hold on, he shouted. The engines roared. The ship shook violently. In a burst of speed, the U.S. Defender ripped itself away from the trap. Enemy ships spun around, chasing. Weapons fire lit up the darkness. The human ship, broken, bleeding, wounded, raced through the stars like a dying animal refusing to fall. Inside the bridge, alarms screamed. Panels sparked. Warning lights flashed. But the ship held. And the human battle suit, fused to the controls, never stopped. Course set, it said. Destination. Safe zone. Tarsik stared at the machine, a strange respect growing inside him. The humans may have left their soldier behind, but he had not given up. And now he was their only hope. The U.S. Defender vanished into the black, carrying the last survivors toward a future they could not yet see. The U.S. Defender flew through the blackness of space, broken but still fighting. Inside the ship, Captain Tarsik and his crew clung to their seats. The engines roared. The walls shook. Every second felt like the last. Behind them, the enemy ships followed like wolves chasing a wounded animal. They're gaining on us, Keln shouted, staring at the radar. I see them, Tarsik said through gritted teeth. The human battle suit, still fused to the ship's controls, moved with deadly focus. Cables and sparks danced around it. The ship responded to every command without hesitation. Engines at full power, the suit said. Shields at 20%. That's not enough. Nira cried. We don't need to fight, the suit said calmly. We only need to survive. The enemy ships began firing. Bright beams of light cut through the darkness. Explosions rocked the ship. Metal tore from the hull. Systems screamed warnings. "We're not gonna make it," Varric shouted. "Yes, we will," Tarsik roared. He refused to die now, not after everything they had survived. The suit opened a map on the main screen. "Debris field ahead," it said. "We hide there." The crew stared at the screen. A massive graveyard of broken ships floated just ahead. Twisted metal, burned wrecks, floating bodies. It was a silent, deadly place. "Perfect," Tarsik said. "Let's lose them there." The ship dived toward the debris. Enemy ships followed, firing faster. The Defender weaved and twisted through the wreckage, dodging dead ships and broken engines. Some pieces were bigger than buildings. Others were sharp as knives. One wrong move, and they would be torn apart. "Hold steady," Tarsik shouted. The suit guided the ship like a ghost through the storm. "Brace for impact." A small enemy ship clipped their wing. A loud bang. The ship spun out of control. "Stabilize," Keln screamed. The suit slammed emergency thrusters. The Defender righted itself just in time, skimming close over a broken battleship. The enemy ship split up, searching through the debris. "They can't see us," Nero whispered. "Good," Tarsik said. "Now we make them lose us for good." The suit activated a new system. Tiny drones launched from the sides of the Defender, scattering in all directions. Each drone sent out false signals, fake engine sounds, fake life signs. The enemy ships, confused, began chasing the wrong targets. "It's working," Varric said, amazed. "Temporary," the suit warned. "They will adapt." Tarsik looked at the suit, respect in his eyes. "Then let's make our move now." The suit plotted a risky course, through the tightest, deadliest part of the debris field. "No normal pilot can survive that path," Keln said, staring at it. Tarsik grinned grimly. "Good thing we're not normal." The engines roared again. The U.S. Defender shot forward. Broken ships spun around them. Flashes of old battles lit up the darkness. For a moment, it felt like they were flying through a graveyard of the past. Ghosts of forgotten wars. But Tarsik didn't look back. He focused only on the path ahead. Survival. The enemy ships, still confused by the drones, hesitated. Some crashed into debris. Others got lost in the wreckage. Only 2 hunters stayed on the Defender's trail. "Persistent," the suit said. "Can we fight them?" Nero asked. "Not yet." The ship twisted between 2 broken cruisers, engines screaming. A massive piece of metal spun toward them. Fast, sharp, deadly. "Left," Varric shouted. The suit barely dodged. The spinning wreck sliced past them, missing by meters. Another explosion behind them. One enemy ship wasn't so lucky. It hit the wreckage and exploded in a ball of fire. "One down." Keln cheered. "One left," Tarsik said, his voice tight. The last hunter closed in, weapons charging. The Defender raced toward the edge of the debris field. But it wouldn't make it before the enemy fired. "We have to do something," Nero cried. The suit made a choice. Without warning, it shut off all power. The ship went dark, silent, and dead. "What are you doing?" Varric shouted. "Trust it," Tarsik barked. The enemy ship, seeing no more engine signature, sped past, searching, confused. Slowly, carefully, the Defender drifted through the last wrecks. When they were far enough, the suit restarted the engines. Quietly, carefully, the ship slipped away like a shadow. The enemy hunter never saw them escape. "We did it," Keln breathed. "We're alive," Nero whispered. But Tarsik knew better. This was just the beginning. He looked at the suit. "Where now?" The suit answered without hesitation. "To the last safe zone. But we must hurry. More dangers way ahead." Outside the windows, stars stretched like cold, silent watchers. The U.S. Defender flew onward, a broken ship carrying survivors, secrets, and a machine that refused to let its mission die. The hunters were behind them, for now. But in the dark future ahead, even greater enemies waited. And this time, survival alone might not be enough. The U.S. Defender flew through deep space, silent and wounded. Inside the ship, Captain Tarzik and his crew worked quickly. Panels sparked. Alarms beeped. Systems were failing, one by one. The human battle suit stayed connected to the ship's controls, guiding them forward. Safe zone coordinates locked, the suit said. Arrival in 30 minutes. Tarzik looked around the bridge. Nara was helping Kelm repair a broken console. Varric was checking the shield levels, barely at 5%. We won't survive another fight, Varric said grimly. We just need to make it a little further, Tarzik replied. But even he wasn't sure if that was true. The safe zone was supposed to be a hidden base, a place where survivors could rest, repair, and regroup. But the galaxy had changed. Nothing was truly safe anymore. Are you sure the safe zone is still there? Nira asked the suit. Unknown, the suit said. Last signal received 78 days ago. Tarzik's gut twisted. A lot could happen in 78 days. Still, they had no choice. It was safe zone, or death in the void. The minutes dragged on. The ship floated into a new sector. Stars looked different here, colder somehow. Then, on the main screen, a small planet appeared. It was covered in metal. Towers, landing pads, walls bristling with guns. The safe zone. Or what was left of it. Looks abandoned, Keln said, frowning. No signals, Varric added. No movement. Maybe they're hiding, Nira said hopefully. Tarzik wasn't sure. Something felt wrong. Too quiet. Too dead. The Defender moved into orbit. Preparing to land, said the suit. As they descended, they saw the scars. The safe zone had been attacked. Buildings were shattered. Landing pads were covered in black burn marks. Someone had already found this place, and someone had destroyed it. The ship touched down with a hard thud. Dust rose around them. Tarzik unbuckled and stood. Stay alert, he ordered. We don't know what's waiting out there. The crew armed themselves with whatever weapons they could find. Old human rifles, broken pistols. The battle suit led the way. The ramp opened with a hiss. The air smelled burnt and bitter. They stepped onto the surface. The safe zone felt like a graveyard. Empty halls, broken equipment, bloodstains long dried. This place was a stronghold once, Varric said quietly. Not anymore, Nara replied. They moved carefully through the ruins, searching for survivors. Over here, Keln called. They rushed to find him standing by a fallen door. Underneath, they found a body. A human, or what was left of one. The battle suit scanned it. Cause of death, energy weapon, high precision, no suffering. Tarzik's mind raced. Whoever attacked here, they were fast, efficient. No time for screams, no time for fighting back. Is there anything left? Nira asked. The suit pointed to a building still standing, barely. Command center, possible data storage. They ran toward it. Inside, the air was thick with dust. Screens flickered weakly. Old messages flashed on broken monitors. The suit plugged into a console. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a hidden file opened. A video played. The last message from the safe zone's commander. A tired human woman stared into the camera. Her voice was shaky but firm. To any survivors, we held as long as we could. The enemy was too strong. They had technology we've never seen before. Weapons that bend time. Armor that drinks energy. We fought. But she paused, wiping blood from her forehead. If you find this message, don't stay here. Run. Find the beacon. It's our only hope now. Save humanity. Save yourselves. The video ended. The room fell silent. Tarzik turned to the battle suit. The beacon. What is it? The suit's eyes glowed brighter. Beacon. Final human project. Last chance for survival. Location: unknown. Mission priority: highest. So we find it, Tarsik said. But we don't even know where to start. Keln protested. We'll find a way, Tarsik said firmly. Before they could plan further, the ship's alarm blared. Incoming. The enemy have found them. Outside, dark shapes moved through the ruined safe zone. Black ships landing. Armored figures marching. How did they find us so fast? Nira whispered, fear in her voice. They were probably waiting, Varric said. Tarsik made a quick choice. We can't fight. We run. But where? Keln asked. Tarsik looked at the stars above. Anywhere but here. The suit stepped forward. Follow me. There is one way left. They sprinted back to the defender. Blaster shots rained around them. The ground exploded in small craters. Varric got hit on the arm. He cried out but kept running. The ship's engines were already warming up. The battle suit had activated them remotely. As they rushed up the ramp, enemies fired from the shadows. Tarsik fired back blindly, covering his crew. Finally, the ramp closed behind them. The defender lifted off, engines screaming. The safe zone shrank beneath them. A broken dream, a lost fortress. Above, enemy ships launched to follow. Tarsik gritted his teeth. We need to find that beacon, he said. It's the only way we survive now. The battle suit nodded. And if we fail? It didn't finish the sentence. It didn't have to. Everyone on the bridge understood. Failure meant extinction. The U.S. defender vanished into the dark once more, chased by enemies, carrying the last hope of 2 dying species. And somewhere, hidden among the stars, the beacon waited. The U.S. defender blasted through the stars, engines burning at full power. Inside the ship, Captain Tarsik and his crew fought to stay ahead of the enemy. Alarms screamed. The hull shook. Enemy ships chased them like hunters after wounded prey. They're gaining. Keln shouted from the radar station. We can't outrun them forever, Varric said, clutching his bleeding arm. We don't need forever, Tarsik said. Just enough time. Beside him, the human battle suit stood at the controls. It moved like it was part of the ship, scanning data, plotting paths, searching for hope. Multiple enemy ships detected, the suit said. Weapons charge, impact in 2 minutes. We need a miracle, Nira muttered. At that moment, the ship's screen flashed. A strange signal appeared, far ahead. It was weak, flickering like a dying light. The beacon, Keln cried. It has to be. Tarsik didn't hesitate. Plot a course, he ordered. The battle suit instantly changed the ship's path. The defender turned sharply, engines howling. The enemy ships followed, firing plasma bolts that lit up the dark. Some blasts skimmed past the defender, burning scars into its hull. One shot slammed into their rear shield. The ship jolted violently. We lost shield power, Varric shouted. Divert everything to engines. Tarsik barked. The ship shook from the strain but pushed forward. The strange signal grew stronger. Now they could see it. A tiny station floating near a shattered moon. It didn't look like much. Just a small silver tower, half broken, covered in dust. But it pulsed with a soft blue light. The last hope of humanity. That's it, Nira whispered. Prepare for emergency landing, Tarsik ordered. The battlesuit guided them in. The defender came in too fast. It skidded across the broken ground, throwing up clouds of rock and dust. Metal screamed. Panels blew out. But somehow, they stopped, battered but alive. Move, Tarsik shouted. The crew rushed out of the ship. Above them, enemy ships circled like vultures. Dark figures began to drop from the sky. Armored soldiers, weapons ready. The battle suit led the way toward the beacon. Defend the captain, it ordered. I will activate the beacon. No, Tarsik said. We stay together. The suit hesitated. then nodded. They sprinted across the cracked ground toward the silver tower. Blaster fire rained around them. Varric fired back, limping. Nira pulled Keln out of the path of a deadly blast. The battlesuit shielded them with its body, taking hits that would have killed any of them. Finally, they reached the base of the beacon. A heavy door blocked their way. Sealed tight after years of silence, the suit placed its hand on the door. Accessing. Enemy soldiers closed in. Tarsik, Varric, Keln, and Nira formed a shield wall, firing at anything that moved. The air smelled of burning metal and fear. The door beeped and slowly opened. Inside, Tarsik yelled. They rushed in, dragging the wounded with them. The door slammed shut behind them. Inside, the tower hummed with ancient energy. Lights flickered to life. Old machines buzzed. A deep voice echoed from hidden speakers. Humanity Protocol. Last defense. Identify. Tarsik stepped forward. Captain Tarsik, survivors of the U.S. Defender. We seek refuge. We seek hope. The battle suit transmitted a code. A code hidden long ago in human memory banks. The tower responded. Protocol accepted. Beacon activation in progress. The floor shook. Outside, enemy forces pounded at the door. We don't have much time. Nira cried. The battlesuit approached the central console. Its eyes glowed brighter. Warning, it said. Beacon energy may attract more enemies. We don't have a choice, Tarsik said. Do it. The suit placed its hands on the console. Energy flooded the room. Blue light filled the tower. Outside, the attackers howled and fired heavier weapons. The door began to crack. But the beacon was waking up. Screens showed a map of the galaxy. Safe routes, hidden bases, secret allies. More signals lit up across the stars. Other survivors answering the call. We're not alone, Keln whispered, tears in his eyes. The enemy finally broke through the door. Dark soldiers stormed in, weapons raised. But the beacon's defenses activated. Laser turrets popped from the walls. Automated drones fired precision shots. The enemy fell one by one. Still, some kept coming. Desperate, furious. Tarsik and his crew fought side by side, backs to the glowing beacon. The battlesuit stood in front of them, taking blast after blast, but refusing to fall. Finally, with a sound like a heartbeat, the beacon fully activated. A massive pulse of light shot into the sky, a signal to all of humanity, across the stars. The enemy soldiers froze, confused. Some began retreating. Others simply dropped their weapons, defeated. The battle was over. Tarsik collapsed to his knees, exhausted but smiling. They had done it. They had survived. And more importantly, they had given humanity a fighting chance. The battlesuit, heavily damaged, turned to Tarsik. Mission success. Yeah, Tarsik said, breathing hard. Mission success. Above them, new ships answered the beacon's call. Survivors, fighters, friends. Humanity was not dead. It was just beginning to fight back. The stars stretched wide and open before them. A new future, full of danger and hope. And this time, they would not be left to die. This time, they would rise. The beacon's light burned across the stars. Ships changed course. Hidden bases came alive. Old human outposts, long thought destroyed, now answered the call. The galaxy, once silent, began to stir with hope. On the surface of the shattered moon, Captain Tarsik and his crew gathered inside the beacon tower. Outside, the enemy ships retreated, confused by the sudden turn of events. We did it, Keln said, staring at the map of stars lighting up. For now, Tarsik replied. His face was serious. He knew the enemy would regroup. They always did. Beside him, the human battle suit stood tall, damaged but still functioning. Reinforcements detected, it said. Through the cracked windows, they saw ships approaching. Not enemy ships, but survivors. Some were human. Some were alien friends who had refused to surrender. All carried the same message: fight, survive, reclaim. The first rescue ship landed outside. Its ramp lowered, and a group of soldiers ran out, rough, scared, but full of fire. One of them, a tall human woman in battered armor, saluted Tarzik. "Commander Yara, Earth Defense," she said. "You're a hard bunch to find." "We almost didn't make it," Tarzik said, shaking her hand. Yara smiled grimly. "None of us did, but now everything changes." Inside the beacon, the battle suit linked with the new arrivals. They shared maps, weapons designs, secret codes. Humanity's network grew stronger by the second. "This beacon wasn't just a signal," Nira said, eyes wide. "It's a command center, a war room." Tarzik nodded. "And we're not hiding anymore." The survivors gathered in the beacon's main hall. Tarzik, Yara, the battle suit, and leaders from other ships stood around a glowing table. A new mission was formed. Simple, clear, dangerous. Take back what was lost. Hunt the ones who hunted them. End the nightmare. The battle suit spoke, its voice like thunder. First target, the Obsidian Fortress. Everyone fell silent. The Obsidian Fortress was the enemy's main base in this sector. A giant station surrounded by fleets, guarded by powerful weapons. Attacking it sounded like suicide. But no one backed down. Not now. Tarzik leaned forward. "We strike hard. We strike fast. We make them fear us. And we hit them where it hurts," Yara added. Plans formed quickly. Attack routes. Weak points. The beacon's ancient computers even showed old secret tunnels inside the fortress, built by the humans long ago when the galaxy was still young. A risky plan. A desperate plan. But the only plan they had. Varric, leaning against a wall with a bandaged arm, smiled crookedly. "Crazy enough to work," he said. The crew returned to the U.S. Defender. Rescue teams helped repair the ship, patching holes and boosting the engines. Other survivor ships prepared too, loading weapons, fueling engines, getting ready for the biggest fight of their lives. Hours later, Tarzik stood on the bridge of the Defender. The stars stretched before him, cold, beautiful, endless. He took a deep breath. "We do this together," he said over the comms. "Not for revenge, not for glory. We fight for every human who was left behind, for every ally who stood with us. We fight for the future." Across the survivor fleet, voices answered. For the future. The fleet jumped into hyperspace. The stars twisted around them. The final battle had begun. But none of them were afraid. Not anymore. Because now, the galaxy would remember the truth. You can leave humans for dead. You can break their cities. You can burn their worlds. But you can never kill their spirit. Humanity was rising. And this time, they were coming to win.